Hi guys, welcome to the long-awaited review by me of Star Trek Into Darkness. I'm sorry we didn't get it up earlier. A lot of things going on at home, life, work, this sort of thing, so distracts from doing the videos. So first, apologies for that. Also, I will say, at the end of the video, I'll start talking about spoilers about the movie and my thoughts on certain things that happen in the movie. So if you have not gone to see the movie, when I get to that point, you can cut the video off, go out and go check it out if you want to. If you've already seen it or you don't care about spoilers or whatever, you can please feel free to sit back and continue watching me ramble on and on about this movie. Overall, I will say that I do enjoy JJ Abrams' reimagining of the franchise. I'll get more into his 2009 original reboot when we talk about the Star Trek movies, the TOS movies, and just some of my thoughts on the reboot. But as far as this movie goes, this was really, for me, I thought this was really good. We saw it in 3D IMAX, and it was just a full-on roller coaster from start to finish for me. But for me, I think that Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays the villain in this movie, John Harrison, steals the show. You want to watch this guy be this villain the whole time. I mean, Chris Pine, all these guys, they're great, but I mean, he's just such a charismatic person. He just commands the scene whenever you watch any part of the movie with him in it. Overall, the shots were good. The acting was well done. The story was, for me, for JJ Abrams in this movie, I thought it was a compelling story. Sucked you in, and it created a situation where there wasn't one single villain really in the movie. You had a lot of gray area going on with the different conflicts happening in the movie, and you do get a sense in watching this movie that they're definitely paying an homage to a lot of previous Star Trek movies that have come before it. There is a little bit more fan service going on in this movie that I think happened in the 2009 movie. Now, if you didn't like Abrams' imagining of Star Trek in 2009, I don't know if you're necessarily going to like this movie, but I would definitely recommend checking it out anyways, if nothing else, just to see Cumberbatch just be the definition of what a BAMF is in this movie. He is so excellent. I can't even stress it enough. I would watch a movie just to watch the scenes with him in it. Finally, we get to actually see some Klingons in this movie, so that was, it was good to bring in aliens that we were familiar with from the Star Trek franchise and the television program, and see them be reimagined in Abrams' way. I mean, they definitely, obviously, Klingons, but he took some liberties with the physical characteristics of the Klingons. But I mean, if you really want to nitpick about that, you can if you want. But it was just fun for me to finally see Abrams' imagining of this iconic race in Star Trek. To end off this part of the video, I would say that I highly recommend going to see this movie in the theater on the big screen. It's definitely a feast for the eyes. For those of you who did not like Abrams' reimagining of this series, I still would recommend giving this a look, even if you just watch it on DVD at home, rental, Redbox, if it pops on Netflix, whatever. Because I feel like the acting, the story is much more solid. It's more solid than I think the first one. And I think, again, I've always complained, about the first one. And I'll get into my issues with the first one that he did. Was that the villain to me was not strong enough, and in this time you have Cumberbatch, just a strong antagonist against Kirk and Spock McCoy and the crew, and it's really what you need to round out a good story with a lot of suspense and drama, and you need a solid antagonist in the film. So I highly recommend going and see it. So we'll take a quick intermission break, and we will go right into my spoiler section.
Welcome to Intermission.
Gone! Yes, if you stuck around, then you have stuck around for the spoilers, and as a lot of people were thinking, Cumberbatch is Khan Noonien Singh in the Abrams verse. And again, Ricardo Montalban he's Latino, and he's got the accent, and he's suave and all this, and maybe some people had some gripes to that, but you know what, Cumberbatch, he's just as suave, he's just as smart, just as sophisticated, and he definitely shows off his, the eugenic Superman strength of Khan Noonien Singh in this, and he is just like Ricardo Montalban was in the episode of Space Seed. He is a definition of all things BAMF. in this movie. Like, if you look up the word Banff in the dictionary, his picture of this movie is right there. It is, oh my God, I cannot talk about how great he was in this role. Now, a part of me sort of feels like going with Khan was kind of a cop-out because Khan is this iconic character. Even people who aren't necessarily familiar with Star Trek know the movie Wrath of Khan. They know that iconic scene with Shatner screaming into the microphone as he's being left in the Genesis cave. But overall, I think Cumberbatch did an amazing job filling the shoes of a character which is huge. I liked that little cameo there with Leonard Nimoy coming in and just, saying, I just said I wasn't going to tell you about the future and things that we had experienced. But that being said, this guy's trouble. You might want to deal with that. And the guy who I can only think of him as RoboCop because that's who he is. I mean, he's the guy who plays RoboCop. He was almost more of the villain in this movie than Khan really was, trying to militarize the Federation in anticipation of a war, which leads me to question, in the original series, we know that there was a war between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, and now there's a peace treaty, but it's a Cold War, just like, it's supposed to be an analogy for the Soviets and the Americans, and so it's that way now with the Klingons and the Federation in the original series in the 60s. So if the war hasn't happened yet, I would like to see in another Abrams-verse Star Trek, which I'm sure he will do after he's done with Star Wars, I would like to see maybe leading into that war. What would that look like? This war that happened between these two great galactic powers. So maybe that might be something as a possible storyline for a third movie. I mean, I would hate to see them do like Khan here in the second movie, then a Wrath of Khan third movie. Speaking of Wrath of Khan, I mean, we've basically emulated that entire ending scene from that second movie in this movie. And for me, I felt like the way they did it and the way they did it a little bit differently and did their own spin on it, I thought was good until you get to that scene where Kirk dies and Spock does the Khan bit. Yes, I get his human side's coming out and he's losing control of his emotion because here's his best friend dying and he can't even come through the glass because of the radiation. But I think as far as his character, it was so out of character for Spock to do this. I think it would have been better if you would have cut in close to Spock and see him turn his face and like maybe under his breath like Khan, like you see he's upset, he's angry, but he's not gonna scream it out because the reason why that scene is so iconic is because Shatner is such an over-the-top actor sometimes, and he just cranked up that Shatner over-the-topness to 11 in that scene, and you can't replicate that. I love the chase scene at the end of the movie with Spock going after Khan. So part of me kind of feels like it's also a cop-out that Kirk got to live, but then Spock got to live too in the original sets of movies. So I mean, I guess that's a thing we can go ahead and we can excuse that. Again, I get Khan is he is the Shredder to Kirk's Ninja Turtles. He is Magneto to Kirk's Xavier. Like he is that. He's one of the only people who can really go up against Kirk head to head like that and pretty much almost beat him. Even Kirk at one scene in the movie, he looks to Scotty and he's like, we're thinking he's supposed to be helping us, and Kirk's like, I'm pretty sure we're helping him. And Cumberbatch's Khan is not fucking around in this movie. He's breaking Carol Marcus's legs and shit, and he's got this whole plan worked out, and he's outsmarted, outlogicked Spock even. And when Khan lays it all out, how he's going to get exactly what he wants from Spock, Spock's like, okay, yes, yeah, I have no retort for that. You are the superior mind. Again, Khan is probably the biggest spoiler of this movie, and I feel like Cumberbatch did an excellent job portraying this character. I really would like to see, and a lot of people have said, we want to see Star Trek return to the small screen. The problem is, and discussing this with a person on Facebook I speak to about it, there's an issue with rights. Paramount has the rights to the movies, and CBS has the rights to television show. And Abrams wanted to take his imagining of the Star Trek universe onto the small screen and make it episodic, like it was always meant to be. But CBS fought him on it, and when the Disney company dropped Star Wars in his lap, he was like, well, if you're not gonna let me do my TV show, I'll just go do Star Wars rather with Disney, and then he's supposed to come back once he's done with Episode 7. He's supposed to come back and do the next Star Trek movie after that. So we'll wait and see. We'll see what sort of imaginings he has. Again, I think I'd like to see more conflict with the Klingons, maybe the beginning of the war that we always heard about in the series. That might be an interesting story. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, guys, working on the next review right now. Stuff's loading on the computer, so I just thought I'd stop and do this review because, like I said, it's been very busy on here. I've been preparing for promotion interviews or promotion at work, and I got my promotion, so finally I'm free now to sit down and really work on this video. So thank you so much for your patience, guys, and I will see you next time on the challenge. Bye.